newest songs. It's called Flood. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This concludes the musical portion of the show.
Hi, this is Wyvern Blazewood, aka Why Not, here with Oblee for an interview for Streetwear Live, bringing you the faces and places of Second Life. And Oblee, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
I want to know, how long have you been creating and playing music here in real life, actually, in real life?
Um, well, it's a funny story because my music is definitely permanently tied to SL, it seems now. But in real life, my entire life, I've been playing music at some level or another. I took some time off here and there, but I've always been doing something. I was a drummer in a band for a lot of different years, and I've played bass and keyboards in bands. And this is my first time as a solo performer and doing my own songs rather than writing them, for someone else to do.
So you were in diapers playing. Are you telling me
Uh,
this?
maybe. I came from a fairly musical family. My father's a professional musician and a pipe organist and a complete lunatic when it comes to music. And so there were always instruments in the house, and there was always music playing in the house as well. So um, I got to listen to him, practice Bach and Chopin all the time, and it was just a good time.
I can tell you, I do see that kids that come from families who are musically inclined, whether it's playing records or they play instruments themselves, usually end up in music of some sort, and that's really cool. I wish that my brother didn't start trombone in the third grade and then drop it because I never got to play an instrument, and I really admire musicians. Well, how and when did you first discover Second Life?
That was, I guess it was in the end of 2007, around the Christmas season of 2007. I live in Colorado where the winters are cold and long, and we ski during the day and stuff, but the night comes quick. And aside from drinking a lot of beer, there's not too much to do at night. So I I knew these French guys who did a live. I guess now it would be a podcast, but it was like a live stream gig, and they would do this instrumental sort of techno music, and I always listened to their show and would chit chat with them, and they told me one day, hey, we need a voice for this project we're doing in Second Life. We're doing a complete like a complete television show filmed in Second Life, and they made a pilot. It was actually very neat, and they needed these people to do some different voices without French accents, and so they had me come in to do some voices, and that was I saw what they did with this character that wasn't even me, and with my voice, and I thought, I'm gonna go in there and see. And it was, I think the first thing I saw was somebody gave someone like a hat, and it was actually a cow that was riding on their head or something. And like that, then I was sold for life. I was like, this is cool. And then shortly thereafter, my band Aftergrass that I was the drummer of came in and played a show at a place called Dark Star, which is like a Grateful Dead tribute sim that's been here forever. It's been here as long as Second Life, it seems like, and it's a cool place. And we played music there for a bunch of deadheads, and it was neat. And I thought maybe I can come back and do this by myself. It seems like sort of a low pressure place to develop a solo career. And it
That's
turned out to be a
cool.
high pressure place. It turned out to be more high pressure than I thought, but it was, here we are a couple years later.
That is so cool. Well, what was your purpose in coming to Second Life? Basically, was it to expand your musical venues and the people you could reach, or did you come here to Second Life and then you saw the possibilities of sharing your talents?
I would say that the latter is true. I didn't come here for music, although I did hear that people played music in there, and I thought that was kind of neat. I was more interested as a solo performer. I mean, getting a band properly sound checked to play well in Second Life. I mean, we had a sound guy, and so it was like getting him, together and getting everyone together to do it. It was a pretty big undertaking, and so the band sort of lost interest in it. But for me, I saw the possibilities absolutely to play for a much wider audience, and that audience has been growing and diversifying for all these years, and I couldn't be more pleased with it.
Well, I could tell you, you've got a great voice. You could be on radio for sure. I mean, you could be a commentator or something on TV, for God's sakes. Your voice is gorgeous. What are some of the other social media that you use to communicate with or connect with your following?
And the
Besides
2-2 pitch to Utley is lined into center field. Around second is, anyway, sorry, you got me all excited, but I could be a baseball announcer, and that's what I really
You
want to
could.
do.
You really could.
Anyway, Social media. I've tried Numubu, and I need to get back into it. I know a lot of SL performers have used it video-wise, and because I love to make videos of my shows because I have a room full of instruments. Like it's not unlike what I used out in the courtyard there in Second Life, and I play all this stuff and kind of use the looper and run around in circles. And it's like a very busy thing. Like when people just listen, they just hear the music coming out. But when you see it, like I'm running in circles the whole time, like putting things down and picking things up, and so it's kind of a fun thing. And I wish SL had a better way of doing that. Of course we can do it with QuickTime, but QuickTime's not really the way to go anymore. So I would like to see that come back to SL so we could sort of incorporate the real world too. And then I have a Facebook page and I'm on Twitter. I'm totally different on Twitter. It's like Twitter's my place to like I talk about sports or not sports. I hate sports, but I love baseball. So I talk about baseball and like baseball announcers and
Baseball
like,
is a sport, you're not. What are you talking about?
no, baseball is a game. Baseball is more like chess than
Oh,
than
okay.
a sport, than a bunch of guys
All
chasing a ball around. But
right.
anyway, I'm not really a sports guy, but I love baseball, and so that's what I do on Twitter. So I wouldn't say that I'm too active musically on Twitter, but and I have a SoundCloud, and I don't know if you go to I have a website obleemusic.com, and from there you can get to all of anything that I do, including Second Life. So you can find me everywhere via that website.
Cool. Well, I only recently had the pleasure of hearing you do a set when Nick Mammoth TP'd me to the venue where you were playing. Which artists, if any, have had an influence on your love of music and your choice of your style of music?
um, that's a very good question because it seems like that when somebody says I was really influenced by um, this guy, like, I was
Yeah.
influenced by Eric Clapton or B.B. King or Taj Mahal. You're gonna say, okay, well you play blues. I'm gonna guess that you play blues. And by the same token, if you say I was influenced by Sly and Robbie, I'm gonna say, okay, you play reggae. And so um, I've really tried to be influenced by everybody. And my friends will tell you that I'm not a picky music critic, really. That I mean, I definitely, I'm not a huge Journey fan, but other than that, I'm not that picky of a music uh, listener, and so that's what's I've tried to let every single thing I hear influence me, and I think some of the stronger voices in that chorus have been people like Tom Waits and Nick Cave, I think, and bands like The Cure, and just bands who did something that was very different, that they weren't afraid to just be who they were and do their thing. And so I think that's the most important thing in music is to just be very true to yourself and do what you feel. And those people, I think, showed that it's possible to also be successful by doing that. And so that's kind of nice too, because sometimes you get tempted. You're like, do I want to go that write that pop song or kind of go that way, and it's always a bad idea.
You're no Taylor Swift. You are unique for sure. What other people, if anybody, influenced your love of music, like family, friends, or other artists?
um, I guess family is the foundation of that. It's usually family where that starts, and I'm the youngest of three, so my two older brothers were I kind of liked whatever they liked for the longest time. It was just easily programmed, and so whatever they liked, and thankfully they had really eclectic and diverse tastes in music, and of course my father was the classical influence and taught me about classical music, which is you know I'm not going to say not the first music, but it definitely shapes so much what just about any artist around today does, and so that's a nice thing too. And then friends, the internet, I'll listen to anyone. I have good friends here in SL, and there are some friends who just they send links to me and they say, hey, check this out, and I just add it to my favorites and add it to my favorites, and I just have piles of these links, and it seems like people listen to some great stuff, and I love hearing new music. I mean,
I
that's
do
my favorite
too.
thing. It has
Yep.
to be something I've never heard.
Well, let me ask you about your avatar. You have a really unique look. Is it is symbolic of anything, or where'd you get it, or did you make this avatar? And what made you choose the look that you have? I mean, the little, you know, marionette.
Um, I think I just bought. I think I saw a similar avatar. You know, these are these animation pose dolls that you can buy at like the art store, and so there have been a few dozen of them in SL that I've seen, and then I think I just bought one at some point in the past, and I had it. And I was like, this is a really cool avatar. And then I had to get the strings separately, oddly enough, but I got the strings separately from someone else. And then, Mesh came along, and I thought, boy, I want to make a Mesh version of this. And so I made the avatar I'm currently wearing a couple of years ago. And, it has room for improvement. In fact, I've done nothing but build Mesh for the last 2 years. And so I think like Oblee 2.0 is going to be a really cool avatar. But I like the idea of the marionette because it's I mean it's sort of a blatant, I guess it's not even like a sneaky cool bit of symbolism, but it's like it's being I'm little Oblee being operated by some guy outside, and what if someone just grabbed my computer and logged into Second Life and started driving me around? There's little Oblee, but it's who's holding the strings, and so that's a concern, So I mean, change your
That
password
is.
often, I guess, is the moral answer.
That's an adorable avatar. I just love it. Well, can
Well,
you
thank
tell
you.
me a little bit about your music, like particularly some of your original songs?
Um, yes, I enjoy writing original music and I enjoy playing my original songs because I don't feel like I have to live up to someone's expectation, of like what's the song supposed to sound like, or even the opposite way of, oh, well, you should do the song much different, and
Yeah,
because
that
there's
makes
there's
sense.
definitely there's definitely that school of thought too. Like if you do a cover, it should be unrecognizable practically, or it should be exactly the same, or somewhere in between. But for that reason, I like to play, I like to play my original songs mostly, and to write the songs, I guess I've written. I used to write for my band, and I've always written songs. And like when I was younger, I put a little tape together, like a recorded with a keyboard, and like a bunch of songs. And it's like I guess my current album is my second album, because of this cassette that I made 8 copies of and gave to various people. But um, I don't know. I've just always written songs. I like the words. Um, as far as the process of writing the songs, I like to start with the words and say, okay, here we are. These are the words. This
Then
is
you
the
get the
feeling.
melody after, huh? You do the words and
Yeah,
then you tune.
I've,
Hmm.
I've, I've even as a drummer, I mean, I've written songs where I like the drum beat, and I thought I gotta write a song around this drum beat, and because I am definitely, I spent 10 years playing in 2 touring bands in drums, and so it was
Cool.
a very very busy time, and so I played more drums than probably anything.
Wow. Well, your music career takes up a big part of your second lifetime, but do you do live shows in your real life? And if so, are they just local to where you live, or do you travel at all?
Um, I do. I do play live in real life. I have a couple different shows. I have, the Oblee show that I advertise as Oblee, and I usually use a printout of my puppet guy for the poster and everything. And so that's a show where I play electric guitar. I bring a drum set. I bring synthesizers and a bass, and it's a full-on like nighttime, electric extravaganza.
Where
And then
where in real life is this?
well, this is in Durango, Colorado, or thereabouts.
Okay.
I haven't taken the show on the road because it's heavy, and,
Yeah, I
and
bet.
we're sort of geographically isolated out here. We're like as far from an interstate as you can be. So, I will go from town, like a couple of the little local towns here. You know, um, pretty much a 100-mile radius, but that doesn't get you very far. And Then I do like acoustic guitar, and I play at the tourist bars and do covers and kind of like a bluegrassy sort of stuff. And so I do that's like the bread earner, I guess. Like you gotta have a greasy spoon downstairs to pay for the gourmet restaurant upstairs or something.
That's right. Now, I saw in your profile a link to Thunk, so I went there. You saw all these musical instruments there, and I actually took a look around. I was really impressed. Can you tell us a little bit about Thunk and what you've got there at Thunk for people to purchase?
Sure. In fact, it's funny. It's a labor of love, and it's starting to do better. I think that people are getting interested, and as the collection grows, the potential grows too. They're basically musical instruments that they all every one that I make that has sound. Some I do make like deco only. There are like instruments like I have a stand-up bass coming out, and I don't have a real stand-up bass to record the sounds with it. So okay, it's going to be a deco piece. It's just this is to lean in the corner of your house or something. But that being said, all the musical thunk instruments that and they're clearly marked like which ones have sound loops, but they have about 10 sound loops in them, and you can change the sound loop of the instrument. But any sound loop in any instrument is compatible in that it's the same tempo as any other instrument, and they'll sync up. They
Hey,
only play in
that's why I
sync with
didn't
each
buy
other.
any yet. I was like thinking, how am I going to do this and use this
Oh,
thing if I...
I'll get you the bloggers pack. Don't you worry. But they all play in sync, and now at this stage, I mean, I think there's like 30 or 40 instruments, including that cigar box guitar that plays, and
Ah,
so
so,
it's not just percussion. I have a xylophone that plays, and so there's all these different instruments, and they all play in sync with each other, and so you can make. I mean, there's really limitless. I mean, I think I figured out, if you had 10 different copies res of just the basic old drum circle, there were like 25 million combinations possible or something. So it's
oh,
like 10 drums with 10 sounds each, and then you start doing that with 20 or 30 drums, and it's a big loud mess. But it's pretty neat. I've been really interested to see what people do with it, and people do set up some big drum circles, and I've seen some really neat ones, and so I'm just excited to be doing that. And then the mesh part's really fun too, and spent the last few years learning that, and that's great. And I get to make animations, and then I get to come down here in the studio and record the sound loops, and so it's like a real multimedia job, and as it picks up, it's something that it can make a couple bucks doing, and so it sort of justifies the time, because it is a labor of love, but it's also you know it's also something that's starting to move in the right direction, I hope.
yeah, I'm going back to get an instrument now and I can sync them all up together, or two or three. I might see what I can do. Maybe I'll join you and start singing with you. Or you might run away from Second Life. Hey, can you share with us one of your most
Vaudeville Hook.
Second Life moments from your early days here in Second Life? It could be something funny, fun, scary, a proud moment, anything that just stands out in your mind from your first days here in Second Life.
Um, I almost have to like take the fifth in this situation, but
Oh,
I can just say that some of the hardest laughing I've ever done in my life has been in Second Life, and that was in real life. I mean, like there were times that I had in here with a small group of friends who are sadly many have since moved on and aren't here anymore, but some of the funnest times I've had have been, and it's obviously it's the people that make it, but that being said, the craziest the craziest times, um, well, like I said, the craziest PG rated times are
it doesn't
I
have
was
to be
playing a show.
PG rated for
I was
this, whatever.
I was no, I think I'm just joking too. I don't know how. I don't. I just don't know how the others would feel if I mentioned their story. Anyway,
Oh,
the the craziest time, I was playing a show. Okay, here's two crazy ones for you. The one I was playing a show, and I don't know if you know Pepito Helstein. He's the drummer of the band Ingrama, who's like a real band in real life who plays also in Second Life. amazing. They're my favorite act in Second Life, without a doubt. They're one of my favorite acts in any life. I mean, just awesome. And he's like a mischievous one, you know. He's sort of like an imp in some ways. And so, of course, I gave him perms like to move my stuff because back then I had a really slow computer, and so I would be afraid I'd set up the stage wrong or I'd do this wrong. So he would always sort of like clean me up, like fix my hair and stuff. And so I gave him prims on my or perms rather, and so he had just full control of all my stuff. And so I had that stage, and like I sit on the stage that way. It makes it easier, especially on the old computer. It made it easier to get on the stage, and it also made it so people couldn't like bump me off the stage if they wanted to. And so I was sitting on the stage and I'm playing the show and I'm playing the show, and I look over at the computer and my stage is stuck to the wall now, and I'm playing sideways and I'm on the wall. And I'm thinking, what's going on? And then wham onto the ceiling, and I'm playing on the ceiling. I'm upside down playing on the ceiling, and the stage is flying around the venue, sticking to things. And he was just sitting there, just whipping me around the venue, and I started laughing. So again, like I lost it. I mean, I like messed up the song because I just laughed so hard. And then
I would too.
The same. There's a thing in Second Life. It's a little attachment. It's called Poopy Butt, and I don't know if any of you have Poopy Butt, but it's basically
You can
as
share it with
advertised.
me if you want. I'd like to have some poopy butt sometime.
I don't think you want it, not for the interview, but it's basically when you wear this thing and somebody, including you, touches it, your avatar squats down and starts to poop.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Like,
I have a toilet that explodes from cat boy.
Well, this thing it just makes you poop, and there's sound effects, and there's actual like there's it's rezzing things. I mean it's fairly vile, and you're like wiggling while you're squatting too. It's really it's ridiculous.
Oh,
And so
I want it so badly.
well, I had it on, and I didn't know it was on this avatar, so I attached the avatar before my show. Just okay, I got to put on my avatar. I get on the stage, and it was so crowded. The show was really crowded, and it was really laggy, and I could barely move. And so I did like Alt Control Shift 9, like I turned all mesh off, and then I did Alt Control Shift 4, turned all avatars off. And so I just have a blank screen, but I can see my chat. And so I'm on the stage, and somebody touched my poopy butt attachment, and I started pooping, and this is like right at the beginning of the show. And so I'm there like wiggling and squatting and pooping, and of course it's a venue where I'm playing, so I have like rights to res, and so I can the whole thing it's working perfectly except for I can't notice. And so it was a late night show. I'm kind of far from my monitor when I play, and so I can't really see what everyone's typing. And like somebody's like, "Boy, he's really taking a crap on stage or something." And I'm like, going, "Oh man, am I playing that bad?" Like I thought I was playing really bad, and so it went on. It went on for the entire show, like for 1 hour, like for 1 hour, and it was at the show that's like a very popular. It's over at After Dark. It's like every other Tuesday. It's like it's a packed place. It's kind of the big one, and I get a lot of like new people from that show. Like it seems.
And
like
you had
all
the
the
big
time.
one right in the big one. That was so cool.
Yeah. So there's the there's my path to success.
That's
Poopy butt.
hilarious.
I'll hand out poopy butt after the interview. I'm
Oh,
not
thank
giving
you
it out.
so much. I really want it. I've got to have it for my next comedy act. Hey, other than your music, what other things do you do in Second Life, or do you even have time to do anything else?
Well, I do the mash thing. I do the Thunk instruments, and then I have a store for that, and then I also do Spell, which is a jewelry line that I'm partnered with the gal from Ionic, Laqua, and she's also plays in the band Ingrama, so we're old music buddies, and she's the most amazing texturer I've ever seen, and so she textures these things, and I make the mesh, and so we're sort of like partners in that. And then I'm also we have another one.
You got to get links to all these things to Nick so he can.
Oh, yeah, whatever. I mean, I think you can find them all, but or maybe I should I have to put them in my picks. I'm so bad at Second Life. I'm so used to having a bad computer that now that I have a good computer, like I still haven't cleaned up my act, like my
That's a
inventory's
whole
out
new
of control.
learning curve when you get a new computer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I have to like participate, like I never filled my profile in. I'm like, it takes me 5 minutes to open my profile. Well, I'm gonna edit it, and so now I'm gonna edit my profile. That's
Good,
next.
good.
That's next.
All right, well, would you share with the audience information about your group or groups and how they can find where and when all your events will be on Second Life or anywhere?
Um, yes, and as oh my God, this is funny. I'm such a cheapskate that I stopped putting my Subscribo out because it was getting to where I was gonna bump up into the next level of Subscribo, and so I really have to stop being a cheapskate and just do that because people like the Subscribo better, and yeah, yeah, I'm sitting at 4.99 in my
Well,
Subscribo, and it's just like it's that coveted last spot nobody gets, and so I just have it hidden. But I really, oh my God, that's ridiculous. But I love the group because in my group there's a fun bunch of people in there, and the group chats get ridiculous, and it's really fun. And I post my shows. There's times I play impromptu a lot. Sometimes a lot of venue owners kind of know my habits, and they'll see me and they'll say, "Hey, can you play in 10 minutes? Somebody canceled." And that's the best time to get me to play because I'm just like, hell yeah. And by the time I change my mind, I'm already on stage, and I can't go back then. And so
cool.
it's
We're going to wait till the last minute when we invite you.
yeah,
There you go.
the secret's it's only a couple people that I do that for though because
Oh,
it's
yeah. Well, I'm one of them because otherwise I'm going
yeah,
to put
now you're
some
one of them.
at the end of this interview and you'll
That's
be
right.
so sorry. No, I'm kidding. I'm
That's
just
right.
kidding.
um, but no, it's like that's really fun to do that, and so that kind of thing. I don't send a Subscribo out, but I send my group. I send
Huh.
an IM to my group just because it's like, hey, who's on? Because yeah, it's fun to do that way. And I mean, I will send a Subscribo, but if it's so last minute that I don't have time, I skip it. But I always
Yeah.
send a message to the group because I always can. So I the group is just called the Oblee group or Oblee or something, and you can just search under groups and
It's
find it and join up.
Oblee is how you spell it. Oblee, right?
Oblee. That's right.
Okay. Well, Oblee, I really thank you so much for not only coming and singing and interviewing, but for the beautiful music that you make. And I appreciate your joining us today as Streetwear Live.
Why, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure to be here. I'm just thrilled with it, and thanks for putting together a nice interview. It's been fun. It's flown by.
Hey, we're going to have you back. Abby says we're having a party here at Streetwear Live, and we're getting you. And I don't know what
All
you're going to
right.
cost, but I will.
We can work out a deal.
All right, bud. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
This is Why Not, a.k.a. Wyvern Blazewood with Oblee at Streetwear Live. Good night, everyone.
I'm just gonna start the song. Of course, all of my songs are made either just acoustic or with live looping. All the looping's done live. Nothing's ever pre-recorded. And so we'll start with a little drums and move our way on. This is the first song from my latest and only album. It's called The Storm.
unseen. When darkness knocked down all my doors, came right back for me. Oh, here we are at home. No TV, no telephone. Oh, just you and I. We never say goodnight. Watched as they sifted through the remnants of our lives. Watched and we tried our best to blow on the dials. Oh, here we are at home. No TV, no telephone. Oh, just you and I. We never say goodnight.